Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my English class. Today we will be doing the topic My Shadow, that is block 15 in your content book. Okay, today we will be starting with My Shadow, which is block 15 of your content book. My Shadow, okay, is a beautiful poem written by Robert Louis Stevenson. Now, before we go into the poem, I have a riddle for you, which I want you to answer. Okay, so here goes the riddle. It is of one color, but not one size. Okay, I'm talking about something or somebody, and I'm saying it is of one color, but not one size. It is stuck on the ground, but easily flies. Okay, it is stuck on the ground, but it flies easily. It is present in the sun, but not in the rain. You see it only when the sun is shining, not when it is raining. It doesn't harm anyone, okay, and it feels no pain. So it doesn't harm anyone and it feels no pain. So can you tell me, who am I talking about? Can anyone guess who am I talking about? Yes, you guys are right. I'm talking about my shadow. Okay, so today's lesson is all about my shadow. We will be talking about the poem, okay, My Shadow by Robert Louis Stevenson. So let's have a look at the poem, okay, and I'll be telling you or explaining the poem to you line by line. The poet starts with a line, I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me. So the poet is saying he has a little shadow, and this shadow goes in and out with him. Means he goes everywhere with him, okay? And what can be the use of him is more than I can see. So he says that the shadow has no use, okay? He cannot see any use of the shadow. So indirectly, he's calling the shadow useless. He is very, very like me from the heels up to my head. So he says this shadow looks exactly like him from the bottom of his feet, that is your heels, till the poet's head, okay? And I can see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. So he says that the shadow is very naughty, okay? And he jumps into the poet's bed even before the poet can jump in. Then we go to the second stanza where he calls the shadow funny, okay? The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow. So he says the funniest thing about the shadow is the way he likes to grow, okay? Not at all like proper children, which is always very slow. Now, proper children, okay, like you guys, you take time to grow, right? Years to grow. But he says this shadow, okay, just grows in a second. He grows very, very fast, okay? For he sometimes shoots up taller like an India rubber ball. So he says the shadow sometimes, okay, shoots up taller, okay? Means if you see the Indian rubber ball, okay, the Indian ball which is made out of rubber, when we throw it, it goes very, very high, right? Or when we bounce it, it goes very high. So he's comparing the shadow, okay, which is very, very which sometimes becomes very tall, to the Indian rubber ball, okay, which also goes or which also reaches a very high height. And he sometimes gets so little that there's none of him at all. And then he says, okay, sometimes the shadow becomes so tiny that he cannot see him at all, okay? Then we go to the third stanza and he says he hasn't got a notion of how children ought to play. So he says that he doesn't have any idea how children ought to play, okay, or how children should play, and can make a fool of me in every sort of way. He says that the shadow makes a fool of the poet, okay, in every sort of way. So you can say indirectly say that the shadow embarrasses the poet. He stays so close beside me, he's a coward, you can see. So the poet says that the shadow never goes far away from him. He's always sticking to him, and because of that he is calling the shadow a coward, okay? Clear? And then he says, I think shame to stick to Nursey as that shadow sticks to me. The poet says that he feels ashamed, okay, to stick to his nurse since he's grown up now, but as the shadow sticks to me. Okay, so he is saying that the shadow it's really shameful, okay, that the shadow sticks to him, because only babies stick to their nurses, or only babies stick to their mothers, right? And once we are grown up, we don't stick to our mothers. Do you stick to your mothers whole day? No, it may be your baby brother or your baby sister who will always be sticking to your mother, right? But this shadow always sticks to the poet. So he says that it's really shameful, okay? The poet thinks it's shameful. Then we come to the fourth stanza where the poet says, one morning very early before the sun was up. Okay, so he says one morning before the sun had already risen, the poet went out. Okay, and when he went out, okay, I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup. So he says he went out and he found dewdrops, okay, on every buttercup. Okay, buttercups are shiny yellow flowers that are shaped just like cups, and this poet, okay, he finds dewdrops. You know what are dewdrops, okay? If you get up early in the morning and if you look at the leaves, you will find little drops of water on it. That is your dewdrops, okay? So he says that he finds the shining dew on every buttercup, okay? But he says, but my lazy little shadow, okay? So he calls the shadow lazy, like an errant sleepy head. So he says that the shadow is very sleepy, okay? He's comparing it to a sleepy head. He's saying it's very, very lazy. Sleepy head means a person who likes to sleep too much, okay? Had stayed at home behind me and was fast asleep in bed. So the shadow did not come with the poet outside. He stayed at home and was asleep in the bed, okay? Can you tell me why the shadow did not come with the poet? Can anybody tell me why the shadow did not come with the poet? Yes, you guys guessed it right. The shadow did not come with the poet because the sun had not risen, right? And only when the sun rises, you can see the shadow, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this poem. It's a beautiful poem. It's a very funny poem. And I'm sure when reading it, you all had a big smile on your face, okay? Now let's go to the next topic. Okay, today's topic is all about similes. We are going to learn all about similes. Now, if you remember in your previous classes, we have learned about personification, right? We have even touched similes, but today we will be learning a little more about similes. So if you look over here, okay, he sometimes shoots up taller like an Indian rubber ball, okay? He sometimes shoots up taller like an Indian rubber ball. Over here, he is the shadow, okay? They have given you the adjective taller, means they are comparing the shadow, okay, which is tall, okay, which shoots up taller, okay, to an Indian rubber ball, okay? Over here, the poet is comparing the shadow, okay, to an Indian rubber ball, okay? And then if you see my lazy little shadow like an errant sleepy head, again the poet compares the shadow to a sleepy head, okay? So when we make comparisons between two unlike objects, okay, objects that are different, this is known as similes, okay? So the shadow and the Indian rubber ball, are they same? No, they are not same, right? They are different, okay? They are different. But the poet is making a comparison using words like and. Over here we have like, okay? I'll give you another example in the next slide. Again, shadow, the lazy shadow with the sleepy head. So when we make comparisons between two unlike objects, okay, this is known as your similes. Let me take you a little forward and explain this part a little more, okay? So remember a simile, okay, this is very, very important. If you know similes well, then it will be very easy for you to learn metaphors, which we will be learning in the later part of this year, okay? So a comparison, okay, when we compare two things or two objects by using the word like or as. Okay, we will use like or we will use as. Remember, these objects will be different from each other. They won't be same. Okay, for example, if I say my brother is as tall as a giraffe. Okay, my brother is as tall as a giraffe. Now, my brother is a human being. The giraffe is an animal, right? But my brother is tall and the giraffe is also tall, right? So I am comparing their qualities. Okay, I'm comparing their qualities. So remember, the objects will be different, but they will have a similar quality. Okay, they will have a similar quality. Look at this one. My dog is as smelly as dirty socks. Now, sometimes we all know that dogs smell a lot, right? And socks, of course, after you wear it a whole day in school, have you ever smelled your socks? Right, okay. You know the smell, isn't it? So, we can compare a smelly dog with dirty socks. Why? Because both are smelly. Again, a similar quality of smelly. Okay. Now, let's look at some other examples over here. Today, I'm feeling as fresh as a daisy. Okay, I've just come out from the bath. Okay, and I'm feeling really fresh. And we all know that flowers are also very fresh, right? So, you can say I'm feeling as fresh as a daisy. Okay, John runs as fast as lightning. Now, when a person runs very fast, we know that lightning is also very quick, right? So we can compare a person and we can compare lightning due to that one similar quality, that is fast. Okay, my best friend is as stubborn as a mule. Now, sometimes students are very stubborn, right? Or sometimes your friend could be very stubborn. You keep on telling him, do this, but he would not do it. And we know that donkeys, okay, are stubborn. So you can compare that person with a donkey because of the quality stubborn. Okay, after the meal, I feel as fat as a pig. Okay, there another one. My little sister works as slow as a turtle. Without my glasses, I am as blind as a bat. That boy in my class is as funny as a clown. Right now, I'm feeling as sick as a dog. Have you ever felt as happy as a hippo? When she kissed me, I turned as red as a tomato, right? So these are beautiful similes. Okay, so remember, whenever I ask you to write a simile, okay, you need to choose two objects first. Okay, they will be different objects. Okay, and you need to find one common quality for both of them. Okay, one common quality. Clear? For example, that boy in my class is as funny as a clown. Now, maybe the boy is really funny. Okay, he has this funny type of character. He's always laughing. So, you know that a clown is also like that. So, you can say that boy in my class is as funny as a clown. Okay, funny is your quality. Clear? So, remember, whenever we use similes, we need to compare two things. Okay, they have to be different things. Okay, and we need to use the words like or as. If you're using as, remember, you would say, my brother is as tall as a giraffe. Okay, or my brother is as clever as an owl. Okay, so remember, when you use as, tall as, you will always have as, then you will have the quality, and then it follows as. Okay, or you can also say, my brother is sorry, just a minute. Or you can also use like. Okay, my brother is tall like a giraffe. Okay, my brother is tall like a giraffe. Clear? So this is about your similes. Now let's go to the last part of our poem. Okay, now in the previous poem, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, I taught you about the tone of a poem, right? Do you remember? So remember, the tone is like what feeling the poem gives you. And I'm sure when you read this poem, you all started smiling, or you'd have all started laughing, right? It was a really funny poem. So, and The silly comparison of the shadow with other things makes the poem very funny, right? The poem is compared with so many things, and this makes the poem very funny, okay? So we know that the mood or the feeling of the poem is happy and playful, and the tone of the poem is also funny and playful. So the tone of our poem is funny and playful. Now, for your homework, okay, I want you to find out the rhyme scheme of the poem. I think I've told you to do this when we did Stopping by Woods, but in case you have not done it, please do it. And also underline all the rhyming words, okay, in the poem, and add 2 more rhyming words for each pair, okay? So if you see the first 2 lines, you've got me and see. So you need to write 2 more rhyming words for that pair, okay? For your workbook, I don't think you'll have any problem, okay? Question number 1, you need to, what does the poet describe in the poem? Okay, my shadow, tick the correct answer. Question number 2, write the lines from the poem that mean that the shadow plays like a child and makes a complete fool of the poem. Of the poet, okay? So you just need to look for the word fool in your content book, and you should find the 2 lines, okay? Then explain the meaning of the lines in your own words. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow, not at all like proper children, which is always very slow. I've already explained this in the video. You can always go back and find the meaning again. Write 1 simile of your own to describe the shadow. So you will be describing the shadow. You need to write 1 simile. So find out 1 quality, okay, that the shadow and you have, and write a simile, okay? So that's all for today. In case you have any doubts, you can always message or call me. So bye bye and happy learning.